Hello and welcome. The Modi government has announced that from the 1st of May, all Indian citizens above the age of 18 will be eligible to be vaccinated. This is no longer restricted to those above 45. This is universal vaccination. The biggest question in your mind at this time, I'm certain, is Mera number kab aayega? If the government is allowing universalization of vaccination, is there enough vaccine supply in the country for you to get vaccinated if you're below the age of 45? For perspective on this, we want to go across live and exclusive to Pune at this time. We've got Adar Poonawalla, Chief Executive Officer of the Serum Institute, joining us. Mr. Poonawalla, welcome to the India Today Network. Can you begin and explain to our viewers who are listening very carefully to every word you utter about your company's plans to ensure that from the 1st of May, when universal vaccination has been permitted, they will be able to access your vaccine or whichever vaccine they're able to get hold of? What changes for you? How are you approaching the 1st of May, Mr. Poonawalla?
So thanks to the change of the government policy now, 50% of our capacities can be sold to state governments and to private hospitals. Now, with limited supply and our obligations that we have to continue giving to the central government, there will be initially very limited supplies. However, it is a welcome move because of the opening of this market. You know, as you said, people can access this in a way that they could not access it earlier. And of course, the age group has come down to the age of 18 that can be vaccinated. So this is what is happening, and you will see in the month of May itself, in the middle to end of May, where you will see these doses being sent out, you know, to private hospitals and to the state governments. So that's where we are at the moment.
So the question, of course, is what will the price of these vaccines be? You'd earlier mentioned 1,000 rupees. Your company's put out a press release saying in private hospitals it will be 600, state governments 400. Can you explain the rationale of your pricing decision?
Yes. So we have also disclosed a table and a chart of what global vaccine prices are at, which is, you know, usually more than $10 or $20, which is upwards of 700-800 rupees, and some going into 2,000 to 3,000 rupees per dose. Now, we have chosen not to make, you know, or take advantage of the situation by charging a 1,000 rupee price, which is what I originally hoped I would do. That is something we could look at after 6 months or 7 months when the pandemic is sort of easing down, when we sell in the private market. Right now, we're selling to the state governments and private hospitals, which we feel we need to, in our philanthropic nature, which we've always believed in, giving affordable healthcare products, that we substantially bring it down, you know, from 1,000 rupees to 400 rupees for state governments, and as you rightly said, 600 rupees for private hospitals. So that is why we have done that as a gesture to support the people so that everyone can afford these products.
Could you explain your cost structures, please? Because for many people, the one question in their mind will be, are pharma companies such as yours using this opportunity of a pandemic to make money, or are you doing this something at a purely cost plus basis? So if you're selling it, for example, to private hospitals for 600 rupees, how much does the Serum Institute make out of that?
So 50% of everything that the Serum Institute makes has to go back as a royalty to AstraZeneca. So actually we only get 50% of the revenue that is being made. And so that is the rationale of the pricing also. And of course, if we have pegged this product, if you look at our other vaccines, vaccine that we make against pneumonia, that is priced at 1,000 rupees. So we have clearly demonstrated in all our price points with the governments, with the private hospitals, that we are not taking advantage of the pandemic. We are in fact providing Covishield at a far lower price than our existing vaccines like Pneumocil, which we launched, as you know, in 2019, which is a 3-dose vaccine for children. So in fact, that is far higher in the price compared to Covishield, just to make an example.
Now, there have been reports in the media a few days ago that AstraZeneca in the United Kingdom has sent a legal notice to Serum Institute saying because you aren't exporting, which was part of your agreement under which you got this IPR from the AstraZeneca company, there's a possibility that you will not be able to manufacture Covishield in India. Now, given how important Covishield is in India's current vaccination plans, how serious a threat is this? How are you hoping to deal with this situation?
Well, I don't know how much I can speak about that. All I can say, I'm going off to the UK tonight to settle this issue and manage multiple other contractual obligations that we have not been able to fulfill due to prioritizing our own country first. And I have no regrets on that. We have to prioritize our country over the next few months. And I will be explaining this to different leaders and contractual partners that I have scheduled to meet in the UK this week. So I'm off to the UK tonight to do that. I can't disclose exactly what settlements we will have to reach on that matter, but that's the intention of now that things are moving smoothly in India. The next challenge I have is to go to the UK and sort out all this so that we don't have a situation on our hands that we might regret. So I'm in the process of doing that at the moment.
Have leaders of various state governments been in touch with you after the government's announcement? Have private hospitals been in touch with you? I'm assuming that they would have been. What are you telling them, Mr. Poonawalla? Post the 1st of May, how much manufacturing capacity do you have for people under the age of 45 to be vaccinated? Because from the last time you spoke to us, you said you were producing 60 million doses a month. You hope to scale that up to 100 million. Can you give us specifics about how much are you selling to the government as per your current contracts every month, and how much will you be able to sell to state governments and to private hospitals?
So as I said, we've been directed by the government as per the new policy to have a 50-50 split. And we will try to ensure that, but we first still have to complete our obligations to the central government. So as we do that and we have a balance, I would guesstimate around 2 to 2.5 crores doses per month can be sold in the private market and the state purchases, as I mentioned. So, maybe up to 3 crore doses a month. And as we scale up on a monthly basis, that can increase. We'll let you know, in a month or two where we are on the scale up. We know for sure that from July onwards, we're going to be producing more than 10 crore a month. That's for certain. We're trying to increase from 6 crore a month between now and July. We'll let you know how that progresses. And that's where we are at the moment. And what I'm telling them, to answer your question, is that yes, every state, every chief minister and every sort of private hospital group has reached out to us over the last few days. And we're just asking them to be patient and slowly trying to supply a little bit to everybody. But of course, don't forget, we have to take care of Maharashtra first. Don't forget, that is our state. And it is also the state which is perhaps the worst hit with the coronavirus cases. So whilst we prioritize Maharashtra, we will have very few doses to give to other states and other private hospitals outside of Maharashtra. And, we will give a disclosure on that after things are sort of settled and the dust settles. In the next few weeks, we'll have more transparency on what kind of doses will go outside of Maharashtra, and what will be given in Maharashtra as well.
But is that fair, Mr. Poonawalla? I know you're based in Pune, your family spends a lot of time in Mumbai, you're connected, and there have been local politicians who've been at your factory premises creating all kinds of ruckus, threatening to attack the premises. All this may be true, but is it fair to hold back supplies? Because what if I'm a viewer in Delhi or in Kolkata or in Assam or in Tamil Nadu, and you're the only one manufacturing in the maximum capacity at this present? This regionalism, first we heard of vaccine nationalism, now you're suggesting vaccine regionalism. How fair is that to the rest of the country? How do you justify that, sir?
See, I agree with you there. I'm only going by the sort of demands and pressures that I have to also deal with. To be honest, it is based on the necessity and the need at the moment. I know that there was this debate about, when things open up, how does one prioritize? One prioritizes by supplying vaccines to where, the cases are, or the population density of where the disease is spreading the most, being one area, because that's where we feel, the health experts and others feel you'll save the maximum amount of lives. Of course, having said that, if with a magic wand I could give everybody at the same time, I would. So there has to be some level of prioritization. So if we looked at the whole globe for a moment, if we rewind back to January, first everybody in the world said they deserve the vaccine, which was absolutely right. Then we said, well, India deserves it because India is manufacturing it, and there are a lot of cases surging in India. So then we prioritized India. Then if you go back, it's sort of then coming backward down to Maharashtra. Now, having said that, I'm not saying we are only going to give Maharashtra. We have had talks with the Chief Minister in Delhi also. We're going to give him some doses. What I meant to say is that, yes, initially for the first month or two, the bulk of the supplies will have to go to Maharashtra, because that is the request put in, and that is also the need of the hour. So as I said, we'll slowly fan that out, and in the next month or 2 months, you'll see even more doses going out to other states. And we're not saying we're going to give 0 doses to the other states. I'm just saying there's going to be having to be a little priority. In fact, if there are certain other states which sees a lot of outbreaks, we may give a little more doses to those states, again on a need basis, to save lives. That's the priority that we're putting.
So from what I've understood, what you're saying, Mr. Poonawalla, is that for the month of May and June, you foresee an excess capacity of about 3 crore doses beyond what you're committed to giving to the central government. These 3 crore doses will be split in some ratio between the state governments and the private hospitals that have approached you at the price of 400 and 600 rupees a dose. Is that correct?
So let me just add and clarify. We have a finite quantity of 6 to 6.5 crore doses that we're making on a monthly basis. Now that there is no exports at the moment, we're giving half of that supply, to the central government, and half is being, as per the new policy, available here. So you are going to see a certain amount of doses come from the central government to all these other states as well, in parallel to what we are supplying to these states. So it's not over and above the 6 crore doses, because the finite pie that we have today is around 6 to 6.5 crore doses, which, as I said, we're scaling up on a monthly basis, and by the time we hit July, we're going to be crossing 10 crore doses per month.